Welcome to HH28, where we unravel the secrets of self-discovery and matchmaking. We are Hugh and Heather,
two master holistic guides dedicated to helping you navigate the worlds of numerology, astrology, and personality in pursuit of meaningful connections.
All right, ready to dive into the world of Cancer.
Always game for this kind of deep dive.
You gave us some really interesting stuff this time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a detailed look at Cancer itself, obviously.
Yeah.
But then this compatibility chart that you gave.
Right.
Really, really interesting stuff. So we're going to talk emotional depths, relationship, highs and lows.
Sure.
Really get into what makes Cancer tick.
Yeah, it's always fascinating to kind of go beyond just the typical, like, oh, Cancer, this is what, they're like sun sign descriptions.
Right.
I think there's a lot more nuance there.
Absolutely.
Oh.
So let's start with that, actually. Let's get to the heart of the matter. Everything I'm seeing in this material is pointing to deep emotion as a major theme for Cancer.
Oh, for sure. I mean, think about the moon, right?
It's
like governing the tides, emotions, all things kind of fluid and ever-changing.
Okay.
So that's the energy that resonates with Cancer. They feel everything so deeply. Like it's the ebb and flow of the ocean itself.
So it's not just sensitive. It's like they're fluent in emotion.
Yeah.
It's like their native language. No wonder they're always described as these incredible listeners.
Right.
Deeply empathetic friends.
And that's their ruling planet. You know, it's the moon.
Oh, wow.
So just like the moon reflects the sun's light,
Okay.
Cancers reflect the emotions of everyone around them.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's true. They kind of absorb it almost.
That makes a lot of sense. But
Yeah.
I can also see how that could be overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be like walking around with a high-definition emotional antenna, just picking up on everything.
Totally. And that's a really good point, because that leads us to, I think, another key aspect of Cancer,
Okay.
which is this balancing act that they're always kind of navigating.
Oh, okay.
Being so tuned into everyone else's emotions is a gift, but it can also make them really susceptible to hurt feelings,
Right.
taking things personally when maybe they shouldn't.
It's like they're walking around with their heart on their sleeve,
Yeah.
which I'm guessing can make relationships particularly interesting.
Speaking of relationships, your compatibility chart offers some interesting insights
Oh, yeah. Let's talk compatibility.
into which signs tend to harmonize well with Cancer and which ones might require a little bit more
Effort.
effort. Yeah.
Okay, so the chart lists Scorpio as one of the best matches for Cancer.
Interesting.
What makes this pairing so special?
I think it comes down to their shared element, water.
Okay.
So both Cancer and Scorpio kind of navigate the world through their emotions. They prioritize deep loyalty, emotional security.
So like they instinctively understand each other's emotional language.
Yeah, it's like this unspoken thing,
Right.
kind of a shared sensitivity.
Wow.
Creates a strong foundation for trust and intimacy to flourish.
That makes total sense. Now, on the flip side, we have Aries listed as a potentially challenging match.
Right.
Why is that?
So Aries, ruled by fire,
Okay.
is the zodiac's bold initiator,
Okay.
known for their very assertive, direct, and sometimes fiery nature.
It's a little bit of the clash of styles there.
Yeah.
Where Cancer leads with their heart, Aries is all about taking action sometimes without stopping to think about all the emotional nuances.
Right. It's not that these matches are impossible or doomed from the start,
Right.
but I think both signs would need to be mindful of those differences
Right.
and really work on bridging that gap.
Interesting.
You know, trying to mix fire and water.
Right.
It takes a very careful hand to create something harmonious.
Unless we're talking about a really good hot spring. But seriously, though, it seems like just understanding these astrological dynamics could really help Cancers build stronger, more fulfilling relationships.
Absolutely. It's like having a roadmap,
Yeah.
highlighting potential areas of compatibility
Right.
and friction.
Right.
And I think armed with that knowledge, Cancers can approach their relationships with much greater self-awareness.
Totally. It's not about saying one sign is good or bad.
Right.
It's about understanding what that dance is going to look like.
Yeah.
So besides Scorpio, what are some other signs that tend to vibe well with Cancer?
Well, Taurus, with their grounded, sensual nature,
Okay.
can offer Cancer the stability and the comfort that I think they crave.
Makes sense.
And then Pisces, another fellow water sign,
Right.
often shares Cancer's emotional depth and intuitive nature.
So Earth and water signs create a good flow for Cancer.
Yeah.
What about those less compatible matches? Besides Aries, are there any other pairings that might require extra effort?
Gemini's Aries social butterfly energy
Okay.
might feel a bit scattered for Cancer, who really craves emotional depth and one-on-one connection.
Right.
And then Sagittarius, known for their independent, free-spirited nature, might unintentionally trigger Cancer's need for security and reassurance.
So it's all about understanding those fundamental differences
Yeah.
and then learning to navigate them with awareness and compassion.
Totally. And I think, too, we should say, like, astrology, it's about recognizing patterns.
Right.
It's not about boxing people into these, like, predetermined categories. So while we've explored some general tendencies, each Cancer individual is unique.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's a starting point, not the whole story.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's dive into some of Cancer's strengths.
Okay.
This material highlights their incredible intuition as a major asset.
Yeah.
What makes their intuition so powerful?
Well, I need to think about their connection to the moon again, right?
Right.
To emotions and all things unseen.
Okay.
They're incredibly perceptive, often picking up on really subtle cues and unspoken feelings that I think other people might miss entirely.
Like they have a sixth sense.
Right.
I have a few Cancer friends, and it's like they always just seem to know when something's up before anybody else does.
Oh, yeah.
And they just have this uncanny ability to read between the lines.
And they often do, and it's not just about, like, sensing emotions.
Okay.
It's also linked to, I think, their very deep connection to their own inner world.
Right?
They're constantly processing information on this subconscious level.
Oh.
And this often translates into an almost psychic ability to see beyond the surface.
So they're not just empathetic, they're actually tuned into a different frequency.
Totally.
That's wild.
I know, and that deep well of feeling also makes them incredibly creative individuals.
So
Many Cancers, I find, solace and expression through art, music, writing, anything that allows them to tap into those emotional depths and share their unique perspective with the world.
that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Okay, so incredible intuition, creative depth are two major strengths for Cancer.
Yeah.
What else stands out to you?
Their nurturing nature
Okay.
is definitely a defining characteristic.
Yeah.
Cancers are natural caregivers,
That tracks.
often drawn to professions and roles where they can offer support, compassion, a listening ear.
It's like they have this innate ability to create that safe, supportive space for others to heal and grow.
Yeah, and it extends beyond just people, too.
Really?
Cancers often have a very deep connection to animals,
Interesting.
nature, creating warm, inviting spaces that feel like a true sanctuary.
It's like they have this gift for creating a sense of home wherever they go.
You got it home, both literally and metaphorically, is incredibly important to Cancer.
You know, that's actually something I was curious about because the material mentions this very strong link between Cancer and the concept of home.
Right.
What's that all about?
Well, I mean, for Cancers, home isn't just a physical space.
Okay.
It's a feeling, it's a sanctuary. It's a reflection of their inner world.
Okay.
They crave security, stability, a sense of belonging,
Right?
and their homes often become an extension of themselves.
So it's not just that they like a cozy space.
Right.
It's that they're creating an environment where they can truly relax, recharge, and just be themselves.
Yeah,
Without judgment,
totally.
without pretense.
Their homes are often filled with personal touches, mementos, and things that evoke a sense of comfort, nostalgia, emotional warmth.
Yeah.
They pour their heart into creating a space that feels nurturing and welcoming.
I've definitely noticed that with my own Cancer friends. So inviting.
Yeah.
It's like a warm embrace.
It's the Cancer magic.
It really is.
They understand, perhaps more than any other sign, the importance of creating a space where people feel safe, seen, and understood.
It makes you realize how important it is to honor that trust and to treat their sanctuary with respect.
For Cancer's, home is sacred.
It is so, we've talked about their strengths, their deep well of emotions, their connection to home.
Right.
But like every sign, there's got to be some shadows, right?
Oh, yeah.
What are some of the challenges that Cancers might face because of their more sensitive nature?
Where that same sensitivity that makes them such incredible friends and partners can also lead to some bumps in the road.
It's like that saying, feeling everything so deeply means you feel the lows just as intensely as the highs.
Exactly. And while their empathy allows them to connect with others on this really profound level, it can also make them susceptible to taking things personally,
Yeah.
even when it's not intended that way.
So it's like their feelings are always close to the surface.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful. But it can also make them vulnerable to hurt.
For sure. And their need for emotional security, while completely natural, can sometimes manifest as clinginess or fear of rejection in relationships.
It's that balancing act again.
It is.
Finding that sweet spot between expressing your needs without overwhelming your loved ones.
Totally. Another potential challenge stems from their tendency to retreat when they're feeling hurt or overwhelmed.
So instead of addressing that conflict head on, they might withdraw into their shell to protect themselves.
You got it. It's a natural defense mechanism.
Right.
But it can create communication breakdowns in relationships if not addressed in a healthy way.
It's like they're wired for connection, but also it's a delicate dance.
It is like any dance, right? It takes practice, self-awareness, learning to communicate their needs directly, setting healthy boundaries.
Right.
These are all part of, I think, Cancer's journey toward finding that emotional equilibrium.
So self-awareness is a superpower for Cancer,
Oh, yeah.
especially when it comes to navigating those relationships.
For sure, understanding their astrological blueprint, I think, can be incredibly empowering.
Right.
It's like having a user manual
I love that.
for their own emotional operating system.
Right.
So they can be like, oh, okay, this is how I work.
Now, shifting gears a bit, the material that you provided also touched on career paths.
Sure.
That might resonate with some of Cancer's natural strengths.
Okay.
What are some of the fields where Cancers tend to thrive?
It's no surprise that Cancers often gravitate toward careers that allow them to nurture, heal, make a positive impact on others.
Okay.
Think like healthcare workers, therapists, teachers, social workers.
Makes sense.
Professions where their empathy and compassion can really shine.
So they have that innate ability to create that safe, supportive space for others to heal and grow.
You got it. And then their intuitive nature coupled with their deep emotional intelligence
Yeah.
can also make them really gifted artists, writers, musicians.
Well, that makes sense. They have that direct line to their own emotions
Yeah,
and then that gift for translating it into something beautiful and relatable.
exactly. And let's not forget their love for creating those warm, inviting spaces.
Right.
A lot of Cancers excel in fields like interior design, hospitality, or anything that allows them to curate this very welcoming, aesthetically pleasing environment.
So whether they're creating a cozy home or a beautifully designed restaurant,
Right.
it's about tapping into that ability to nurture and create a sense of belonging.
Exactly. Now, one area that might surprise some people,
Okay.
Cancers in the business world.
See, that's not an immediate connection that I would have made
Interesting.
because I feel like that sensitivity
Yeah.
might make the cutthroat world of business a little tricky.
I mean, it's true that their sensitivity requires, I think, a bit of finesse
Okay.
in those high-pressure environments.
Sure.
But never underestimate a Cancer's intuition when it comes to understanding people's needs and motivations.
So they might not be the most aggressive negotiators, but they have that sixth sense for reading the room
Yes.
and finding common ground.
Yeah. Their ability to connect with people on an emotional level can make them very persuasive,
Okay.
especially when it's combined with their genuine desire to create these win-win situations.
So it's like they approach business with a more collaborative, heart-centered approach,
Totally.
which can be incredibly effective.
It can be, and let's not forget their unwavering loyalty.
Right.
When a Cancer believes in something, they go all in, which translates to incredible dedication to their work and to the people that they work with.
Yeah, it's like they're not just chasing profits, they're building something meaningful.
Yeah.
Something lasting.
You got it now. While their sensitivity can be an asset in business, especially when it comes to building relationships, fostering trust,
Right.
it's important for Cancers to develop strategies for navigating challenges
Cool.
and criticism in a healthy way.
So instead of taking that negative feedback personally, it's learning to detach a bit and see it as an opportunity for growth.
Totally. And having a really strong support system,
Right.
whether it's trusted colleagues, mentors, loved ones, can
Right.
make all the difference in helping Cancers navigate those inevitable bumps in the road.
It's like having that safe harbor to
Yeah.
return to process those
Yeah.
emotions and recharge. Kind of like their connection to home, but in a professional sense.
What a great way to put it.
Now, one thing that really stood out to me was the mention of spirituality being a really significant theme for Cancer.
Interesting.
What's the connection there?
I mean, it makes perfect sense when you consider their deep emotional nature, their intuition,
Right.
and their desire to connect with something larger than themselves.
So while some might see their emotional depth as a weakness,
Right.
it's actually a strength that allows them to tap into the more mystical, spiritual aspects of life.
Precisely. They're very naturally drawn to practices and philosophies that honor intuition, emotional intelligence, and the interconnectedness of all things.
But we're talking like meditation, energy, astrology,
Yeah.
things that help them connect with their inner world, really explore those mysteries of the universe.
Yeah, for Cancers, spirituality isn't just about attending a weekly service.
Right.
It's about finding ways to integrate those practices into their daily lives, to find peace, meaning a sense of belonging.
It's like their own personal roadmap for navigating the emotional landscape, finding their place in the grand scheme of things.
Beautifully said. And speaking of emotional landscapes, we've talked a lot about Cancer's internal world.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what are some things that people might find surprising or unexpected about this sign?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
One thing that often surprises people is their sense of humor.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
They're hilarious.
Cancers are so funny.
I know.
And they're not necessarily like the loudest ones in the room or anything like that.
Yeah, they don't take themselves too seriously.
Not at all.
Which is incredibly refreshing.
Another thing that I think people might find surprising, inner strength.
Okay.
Cancers might be sensitive, but they're also incredibly resilient.
Well, they've had to be. Right.
They have.
I mean, feeling everything so deeply means they've probably weathered their fair share of storms.
They have this remarkable ability to bounce back from adversity, to learn from those experiences.
Right.
And to come out stronger on the other side.
They're like those delicate-looking flowers that can push through concrete.
Wow.
You wouldn't expect it.
I know.
But they have that inner strength that allows them to persevere.
What a perfect analogy. Cancers are fiercely protective of their families and their friends. And that love gives them the strength to overcome any obstacle.
It's like their love is a superpower.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's amazing how we underestimate the quiet ones, right? Cancers, with all their sensitivity, they have this incredible inner strength.
Right.
And resilience that we don't always see right away.
It's a reminder that appearances can be deceiving.
Right.
Just because someone is in touch with their emotions doesn't mean they're not strong or capable.
Right.
And in many ways, it's that emotional depth that gives them that capacity for such profound empathy, resilience.
Love.
Yeah.
So we've talked about their strengths, their challenges, their career paths, even their sense of humor.
Right.
Is there anything else about Cancer that our listeners should know? Anything that we've missed?
You know, one thing that I think often gets overlooked is their incredible capacity for forgiveness.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more.
Cancers being so deeply feeling, they can be easily hurt.
Right.
But they also understand the complexities of human nature.
Okay.
They recognize that everyone makes mistakes.
Right.
And they're very often willing to offer second chances, especially to those that they care about deeply.
That's a really powerful quality.
It is.
Because it takes a big heart to forgive, especially when you've been hurt.
It does. And while their forgiveness might not always be immediate, these things take time.
Of course.
They're often willing to put in the work to heal and move forward, especially when it comes to maintaining those important relationships.
So it's not about being a doormat. It's about choosing compassion.
Yes.
And understanding or holding on to resentment.
Exactly. It's a testament to their emotional maturity and their deep capacity for love.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Makes you think about all the cancers in your own lives.
Yeah.
And appreciate them.
Right.
For their kind hearts and forgiving spirit.
I agree. They often teach us very valuable lessons about empathy, compassion, and the importance of extending grace to ourselves and to others.
You know, as we've been talking about Cancer, I've realized so many of these insights really resonate on this universal level.
They do.
Even if someone isn't a Cancer themselves.
Right.
I feel like understanding this sign can teach us so much about just the human experience.
Absolutely, because I think astrology at its core is about recognizing those shared patterns, those universal themes that connect us all.
Totally.
Whether it's the need for belonging, the search for meaning, the importance of nurturing our emotional world. These are all things that I think resonate with us on a human level, regardless of our sun sign.
It's like Cancer, with all of its nuances and contradictions, is holding up this mirror to our own hearts and souls and inviting us to explore those deeper parts of ourselves.
What a beautiful way to sum it up.
Oh, thanks.
It's about recognizing, I think, those Cancerian qualities within ourselves.
Right.
Our own need for security, our capacity for deep empathy. Those times when we retreat into our own shells to heal and recharge.
Right, and understanding how all of those needs influence our relationships, our career choices, ultimately our journey of self-discovery.
Exactly. We all have something to learn, I think, from the sign of Cancer.
Well said.
Yeah.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Cancer, what's one final thought you'd like to leave our listener with?
You know, if this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, I really encourage you to continue exploring.
Yeah.
Dive deeper into the world of astrology, connect with the Cancers in your life.
Yes.
And most importantly, pay attention to those Cancerian themes within yourself.
Love it.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll discover a hidden talent for nurturing a newfound appreciation for the simple comforts of home.
Right.
Or a deeper understanding of your own emotional depths.
Beautifully said.
Well, it's been such a pleasure exploring the world of Cancer with you today. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep embracing all those, fascinating contradictions that make us who we are.